Ballbusters is a tragic attempt by Nathan Oakley and Quantum Eraser to be in direct competition with their Flat Earth counterparts Globebusters, led by Bob.
A 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Wrong time, Bob, but thanks. Here is their absolutely pitiful trailer. Now and again, the Ballbusters have special guests on to talk about topics and give presentations, and today we'll be taking a look at one of those presentations. But who is it from, I hear you ask? Who is this special guest? Well, it's none other than Mr. Globe Proof himself, Ranty. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you ever so much for joining me. For those of you who don't know Ranty, he is one of the best Globe Earth proof providers we've got, although he claims he's a flat earther. And he has actually just recently interviewed none other than Mr. Mark Sargent. Here is a short clip from the interview where Ranty starts to talk about his subscribers.
It's taken a long time to actually get to 4,000 real subscribers, so I do appreciate every single one of them. One thing I have noticed though is that these anti-Flat Earth channels pop up, and within a month or two they've got 10,000, 15,000 subscribers.
Well, again, I'm suspicious of quite a few of them. The only one I'm going to pick on right now would be Simon Dan.
Interesting.
Because he jumped way up there. In fact, I knew it was bad because we had some of our own dedicated trolls going after him. You know, the normal, our everyday trolls were saying, who the hell is this guy? Like there's a competition for trolls. And they were going into, if anyone wants to look up the records, and you know, you can go to a site called Social Blade, and it will show you, you know, way more analytics than what YouTube has. And there was these 3 days in particular where Simon Dan literally got 1 million hits combined on his channel every day for 3 days.
What? You mean this one? Yes, that's when the good old-fashioned gate video went viral, and it was actually 1.87 million views over 3 days.
And then it dropped down to almost nothing. There was this big burst of views. You know, 1 million hits every day for 3 days. Come on.
Butt hurt alert! Butt hurt alert! Butt hurt alert! Well, it wasn't actually 1 million a day though, was it? It was 640k, then the next day 756k, and then the day after that 481k.
And so we're now, he's got more subs than I do.
Yeah.
And for going against Flat Earth, and I'm sorry, his content is super boring.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, what? Right. I must remember to make it at least as interesting as reading out emails for an hour with crummy Flat Earth pictures rotating in the background. I must make it at least that interesting next time.
Flat Earth Q&A emails number 144. I think it's 144. Hang on. Hey, look at that. It's 144. Where you send me your Flat Earth questions to msargent23 at comcast.net. That's MSARGENT23 at comcast.net, and I will do my best to answer them. So let's get right to it. The first one's called NASA just announced it will allow private citizens to fly to the ISS. Mark, boy, do we have them running. Hope all is well. Flatearth.life. That's from John McCaffrey. Thank you, John. And yeah, that no private citizens are going up there anytime soon. I mean, come on.
So, Ranty Flat Earth is back with what he thinks is an absolute slam dunk for the Flat Earth team. All he has done, though, is give me a chance to make a video which is an absolute slam dunk to show the poor research skills of the average Flat Earther. Let's join Ranty as he starts his presentation.
Without further ado, the presentation. And it's all to do with this. the Birmingham Telecom BT Tower in Birmingham. Now then, massive thank you.
Oh no, he's transforming.
Shout out to Level Earth Observer, who actually found this absolute gem.
You can hear his excitement already, can't you? Level Earth Observer, by the way, is a reincarnation of Adam I. Fee. Remember him?
Elevation is, I go up 16,322 feet. I come down 16,312 feet. Wow. Difference of 10 feet. 10 feet of difference.
You heard it here first, people. There's only 10 feet of difference between Weymouth and Aberdeen. Of course, what you fail to understand is that you're using elevation, which is a value given to the height above sea level. As you're making your journey from one seaside town to another, then of course there's going to be very little difference between the two. So this is the standard of proof that we are talking about here.
An absolute gem. Now, if there's, let's everyone go over here and subscribe. He has 1.7k subscribers. He's always rooting around and sniffing some juicy stuff out. So, it's absolutely in everybody's interest to go over and support the channel, because obviously he wants to show what he's found. You can be the first guys to actually see this, and I highly recommend going over, subscribing, and seeing all the other good stuff that he has on his channel too. So, Level Earth Observer.
Yes, where you can witness fantastic proofs such as this.
Or do you think I might be on a non-rotating Earth, which isn't moving anywhere, thankfully? But what do you think here? What makes more sense, I wonder? Let's just have a think about this.
Anyway, so within the past week he's put this video out about the BT Tower in Birmingham, and it's golden, absolutely golden. I mean, it's more than golden, it's a slam dunk. So back in the 1960s, this BT Tower, I'll bring it up here, BT Tower in Birmingham was built. I think it was actually first started operations in, I think it was about 1966, or maybe even 1967, but essentially it was before the moon landings, let's just put it that way, hint in brackets.
No surprise that Ranty is a moon landing doubter.
The moon landings. Anyway, BT Tower Birmingham. Here's this big eyesore over here. I'll just click this image so that you can see it. Quite a big building. As you can see, it's got these towers at the top. Obviously you've got your staircases going up. You've got all the antennas and everything like that, the dishes at the top up here. And there's a reason that they built it this high. They built it this high. Let me just zoom in. They built it this high, obviously, so they could communicate with other towers.
And here is Ranty's first mistake. We'll let him continue, but suffice to say, a little bit of research would have saved Ranty some embarrassment.
Now, in order to communicate back in the 60s, they used to use microwave radio transmissions. So they would be what was the form of communication. So this tower could handle things like television and telephone calls, things like that. So in order to transmit between this tower and another tower, let's say this tower over here in London, let's show you what this one looks like. So in order for these to communicate with these dishes, etc., all around, they needed a direct line of sight.
Now obviously with the distance between London and Birmingham, this isn't the case. There's a ruddy big planet in the way. Now, the BT towers used microwaves between a frequency of 3 and 30 gigahertz. Microwaves can travel well over the horizon using tropospheric scatter, and there have been instances where they have travelled up to 150 miles. However, this is not how the BT towers communicated. More on that soon.
Simple as that, because the form of communication that they had required a direct line of sight. It's not like using the curvature calculator where they include this 76R nonsense. Essentially, the waves that they were using had to have a direct line of sight. Now, I'm going to show you this lady here. Her name's Molly Mackenzie, and I'll give you a little rundown about who she is and what she's done. So if we go over to her LinkedIn page.
That's a bit stalkery, Ranty.
This is Molly Mackenzie, and she's a chartered civil engineer from Nottingham in the UK. Currently, her position is Regional Director for the Institute of Civil Engineers from July 2015 to December 2018, 3 years, 6 months.
Currently? December 2018? Bloody hell, Ranty can't even research when it's staring him in the face.
East Midlands and West Midlands. If we go down to her education, you can see that she has a Master of Engineering, Civil Engineering in 1998-2003 from the University of Bristol. So she is highly, highly qualified.
Now this annoys me. Because Ranty thinks that she's going to help his cause, he references her qualifications. Yet Brian Cox is immensely qualified, and I bet you don't listen to a word that he says. Ranty waffles a bit more, then he proceeds to play a video with this Molly lady presenting.
But essentially, she'll be talking about this tower. Let's listen to what she's got to say.
Before the introduction of the fibre network, telecom towers across the country formed the backbone of British communications. This tower was no different, playing a key role in the transmission of television programmes in Britain and around the world. When it was built, the tower's height was key to its success, avoiding the surrounding buildings to allow direct line of sight of radio waves to London and other towers across the UK.
So essentially, she's just said exactly what I just said before. Let me just rewind it a tad so that you can listen to that again. Just listen to how she phrases this actual structure.
The backbone of British communications. This tower was no different, playing a key role in the transmission of television programmes in Britain and around the world. When it was built, the tower's height was key to its success, avoiding the surrounding buildings to allow direct line of sight of radio waves to London and other towers across the UK.
Ranty plays it one more time just so we're all up to speed with what she says, so let's skip that bit.
Cool. So, there we have it from the horse's mouth. This lady who has a master's degree in civil engineering and is also was the regional director of the East Midlands and West Midlands when she did this video, telling you that the Birmingham Tower had a direct line of sight with the London Tower. That's what she told you, that's what she said.
Now Ranty is doing something here called laying it on thick, because he thinks he's setting this up for a massive win for him. Unfortunately, he misses something in the next clip.
And there's a reason that these buildings were built so big. Let's just take a look at them. These ugly structures. They were built this big for the exact reason that she's just said. They needed direct line of sight to communicate with each other. Okay, let's go a little bit further. We're going to go to 2 minutes and 40 and listen to what she says here.
Force of it swaying the structure. A stable platform is necessary so that the microwave dishes mounted on the side of the structure keep that line of sight with the remote transmitter they are communicating with.
And one last time, so we hear that again.
A stable platform is necessary so that the microwave dishes mounted on the side of the structure keep that line of sight with the remote transmitter they are communicating with.
Okie dokie then. So she's doubling down.
Well, you're not having an argument with her, Ranty, it's just a video, but let's listen to what she says in that clip.
Stable platform is necessary so that the microwave dishes mounted on the side of the structure keep that line of sight with the remote transmitter they are communicating with.
Remote transmitter. And this is where a little bit of research would have saved Ranty his blushes. When she initially spoke of the direct line of sight from Birmingham to London, she was referring to what was referred to then as the backbone of the telecommunications network. And this was it. Now, as I said before, microwave transmission can travel well over the horizon, but repeater stations were used in this instance to maintain signal strength. The closest to Birmingham was in Charwelton, a mere 35 miles away.
They have direct line of sight with each other, right?
And I think you'll find that Birmingham and Charwelton do.
Let's have a look at these buildings. So, I've actually already plotted them on, the one in Birmingham and the one in London. If you want me to scroll in just so that I can show you this.
Ranty now embarks on a 5-minute escapade to show us all that the London and Birmingham BT towers are not in direct line of sight with each other, which anyone could have told you from the start.
If there's a 2-kilometre geometric drop, physical blockage between this building, which would be some 2 kilometres down, behind these hills. How have they got a direct line of sight? They cannot have direct line of sight on a ball. That is an absolute fact. They cannot have direct line of sight on a ball.
Which no one is arguing with.
They can only have direct line of sight on a flat plane. Pure and simple. And as you can see, it's just high enough to get over this hill, just high enough for those dishes to communicate with each other. And that was the bare minimum that they needed back in the 1960s. Now these civil engineers back then, they didn't need to account for earth curve. They weren't thinking that some 50 years down the line, this earth curve calculator and flat versus globe was going to explode onto the internet.
No, because they likely thought better of the human race.
They're engineers. That's all they are. They're engineers, they have a problem, they figure it out, and it works. And it only works on a flat plane.
Well, it would work on a flat plane, I can't deny that. But that doesn't mean it is flat. Because it works. And we live on a globe. So it works on a globe.
It cannot work on a globe. This would not have worked. If they had to build it for direct line of sight on a globe, this building over here, this Birmingham building, would have to be over 2 kilometres high to have direct line of sight with London.
Yeah, because that would be safe.
Now this is the most conclusive proof you are likely to come across, ever.
What, because a woman said line of sight and you misunderstood that? Doesn't sound like it to me.
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, this destroys the globe argument completely.
Only in your mind, Ranty. I think you'll find that if you talk to any amateur radio operator about this one, they'll laugh in your face, I imagine.
Absolutely. This is probably, like I say, as I said it earlier on, this will be the best flat earth proof that you're going to see, most likely, on this channel all year.
Well, that's good. Got nothing to worry about then.
And let me remind you guys, I really want you to go over and sub to Level Earth Observer, who brought this to the attention of everybody.
Yes, this man.
Elevation is, I go up 16,322 feet. I come down 16,312 feet. Wow. Difference of 10 feet. 10 feet of difference.
And it's been a pleasure showing this to you guys because, I mean, this is undeniable. This isn't an observation. This is absolute, concrete, line of sight told to you by the engineer over here, Molly Mackenzie, who has a master's degree, masters in civil engineering, and at the time was the regional director of the Institute of Civil Engineers in the location.
And Brian Cox has a master's in physics and a doctorate in high energy particle physics, and he says that the Earth isn't flat and that we've been to the moon. You don't listen to him though, do you? Absolute hypocrisy. Right, that brings this episode to a close. Thank you very much for joining me. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, a like and subscribe would be thoroughly appreciated. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great weekend and I'll see you Sunday for another Science Top 5. See you then.